Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value, and I've been ripping through the comment section, been reading some of your guys' comments. Looks like Radium76 has got a comment. I was gonna post something on this. It says, hey Andy, thanks again for all the great videos. Cathy Wood is at it again saying, big deflation coming and commodity crash. Seems way off to me. Thoughts? So I listened to Cathy Wood. I listened to her video. So she's saying from a technological standpoint that we're going to have all these, a crash on the commodity side from technology becoming more efficient. And then also she thinks that the buying pressures of some of these businesses put pressure on commodity and created a higher demand for commodities. I disagree. I think that commodities are driven based off of dollar movements. So the pricing of commodities and a commodity boom is more related to the value of the dollar than it is on a supply demand. She is arguing a supply demand based argument. My argument is the dollar. So we're looking at two very different things. And a lot of people, they think that inflation is, see, what I'm seeing is they're going to have to print a lot of money, and they're going to print money, and they're going to pay pensions and all these different obligations that they have in the many hundreds of trillions of dollars. Those dollars are going to seek something. They seek things. So you can have deflation. You can have, we'll call it a TV go down in price. All right. So this person who gets paid from all this money, it's a flood of dollars into these people's hands, whether it be a pension, a military pension of some sort, whatever it is. Deficit spending and it's government spending, whether it be for renewable energy, electric vehicles, it doesn't matter what it is. Money's out there. It's seeking something. The supply and demand of money is what's going to rise or raise the price of commodities, because commodities are not going to be extracted out of the earth as fast and as plentiful as the money that's being created out of nothing. So it's a dollar supply demand balance between those two. And that's why if you look at historical commodity booms, they've always aligned with inflationary periods, which means the dollar's declining. So she's talking the supply demand. I'm talking dollar issues. Now, when you look forward and you go further into the future, the dollar and the pensions and all of these obligations that the government has, they go to ludicrous levels. Absolute ludicrous levels. And those ludicrous levels are what is going to drive the dollar lower. That's my take. And with commodities priced where they're at today, and if all wealth has to transfer through commodities, you don't become wealthy by not having anything. So let's say I want to become wealthier, just like everyone else on this channel. What are you going to do? Are you going to just have a bunch of money? Is the end game to have a bunch of money, to have like $5 million? No, you want to go and spend it. You either want to spend it on an experience or material items, or something of value. Something of value. And that value is not being created at a fast enough rate that they're creating currency. And that supply-demand imbalance between the currency creation and the commodities being extracted out of the earth, that difference is going to manifest itself in higher commodity prices because they're creating dollars at a faster rate. That's all it is. Hopefully that makes sense. So they're pumping dollars here. They're just whipping these things out in the many trillions. And commodities really are at shortages everywhere. And you're going to develop shortages of products because the dollars are going to seek something. They are going to seek something. And that something it doesn't exist. They can't exist it fast enough. And what's going to happen is the price of everything's going to go higher. That is inflation. It's the supply and demand of more money chasing less goods. And they're creating they're creating inflation, and they're just creating more and more and more and more. Now, here's the thing that I get a little bit afraid of. Everything that we are living in today is moving at exponential speed. Exponential speed meaning that we human beings don't understand exponential speeds. We are like when it comes to exponential things. Linear is very easy. It's a line. We get it. It keeps moving higher at some speed. Exponential means that things are moving far faster, and that, just to give you an example on commodities, you could be producing a commodity and it's growing at like 7% per year, like copper. Like, we need to grow this at 7% a year for all this renewable energy coming up. 7% a year is ridiculously fast. That means that, let's say we're growing it and we have to double our production every 7 years of something. Every 7 years we have to double, but it's not just as easy as doubling. You have depletion on everything that's being produced already. And it's from the higher quality mines. It's from higher ore grades. It takes less energy to produce from that. We are literally running into, going forward, in all of the minerals, an exponential case for energy use. Exponential moves everywhere around us. We're using exponentially more energy in terms of airplanes. We're using exponentially more energy in terms of cars. We're using exponentially more energy in terms of electricity usage to convert commodities into usable products. And everything around us is moving at exponential speeds. And then our ore grades are declining asymptotically to zero, which means that if we want to continue our rapid pace of commodity consumption, that at some point the energy use is just going to go vertical. And we're going to be putting literal massive holes in the ground everywhere. Because if we're mining copper at a 0.2% ore grade, we are going to put massive holes everywhere. And if we need to increase at an exponential pace 20, 30 years out, I don't know how the heck we're going to get all of that. It doesn't make sense to me. Because when you start thinking of exponential moves, you're saying, okay, we have to replace all of our production in 7 years of everything that we've produced back then. So we replace that, and then we have to grow it again, another double on top of that. So we have to go 2x to double our production. We have to go 2 times today to replace what we had, and then we have to put back, basically, find and replace not just what we're mining today, but also add on top of it. And we're moving at these exponential paces up and up and up and up and up. And I don't know where the heck we're going to find all this stuff. So what I do is I turn my thought process and say, okay, let's say the end producers that use commodities, let's say they can't get the commodities that they want. Let's say there's shortages, like bar none, we can't get it. We cannot produce copper at the rate that people want to consume copper at. Or we can't produce silver at the rate at what silver wants to be consumed at. So when I think of this in my head, I go, well, the dollar is going to be done because that's all predicated off of exponential growth. All these currencies are. And anything that's an energy hog is not going to be something that we want to be in. We want to be in the commodities that everyone wants, that basically lubricate the modern society, that are in all of the products that everybody wants. It's in cars, electric vehicles. It's in computers, computer chips. It's in monitors and TVs and all that stuff. And that's basically silver and copper. Copper, silver, platinum is finding uses everywhere. That, if you buy that stuff, and maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe technology, and we have this infinite use of energy, and we figure out, maybe fusion, we figure that fusion out. Perhaps, I don't know. That's way out there. But if you own the stuff that everybody seeks as value and that all industry wants because it's so precious to their part manufacturers and their components and their designs, if everyone is seeking platinum and silver and gold and these minerals. And we're using these things on an exponential clip. When they run out, how much value are those things that are above ground? What is the value of those things? And that's where I get stuck, because someone's going to say that you're speculating, and you are speculating. But the value that these things bring to human society is so great that I don't know what the pricing should be. We've been in such an abundance area. Like as we've developed over all these years, everything's been abundant. It's been like we can produce flat out as fast as we can, as much as we can, with no restraints. What if that changes? What if there's restraints everywhere? It's all around us. Now, that's a totally different world than what we just grew up in. And we're using all this stuff at exponential speeds. Now, no one in their right mind in this world is going to be like, well, I don't want to be wealthier. Everybody wants to be wealthier. Everyone wants more junk. Everyone wants an airplane. Why not? Why not put a helicopter in the back of my yard, right? Just put a landing pad. Almost everybody wants all that stuff. And what's preventing them from getting it? The cost, the price of things, the availability, the scarcity of things. And I'm just looking at this and I'm going, we're moving everything at exponential clips. And at some point, we're going to hit resource constraints. So what I'm doing, whether it's in my lifetime or in the lifetime of my kids, I am accumulating some physical metals which provide unparalleled value to humans in its end uses. And that's one of my investment approaches. That's it. It's that simple. And I buy it when it's cheap. Is it going to work? We'll see. We'll see if it works. It's worked in the past, and I think it's going to work in the future as well. And I think it's going to be even more valuable when everyone goes, when it goes from a plentiful state to a scarce state. That's when the true value is going to come out. That is when everything's going to get repriced, and humans are going to find the true value of some of these metals. And I hopefully it doesn't hit that expensive, because I want to be able to still buy things. But it's always in the back of my head. It's always been there. It's like, what happens when we're growing everything at an exponential pace? What happens when you hit resource constraints in that exponential growth? And I think there's probably a lot of end users, industry users, that are getting a little bit scared right now. They're like, well, it's getting tight, and their margins are all based off of using a lot of these things at very low prices. So we'll see what happens. If you guys like this thought experiment, give me a thumbs up. Leave comments below on what you guys think. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.